Hello, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. So we've gone live. Yes, I had a bad remote viewing last night. From a Buddhist perspective, they're called bardos or states that we can get into. Be sure you don't go down that road because if you go down that road and you open that door, it could take you down hello, Denmark. It can take you down another dark door. So I thought today I would do something which is uncharacteristic for the Oracle of Whimsy, and that is we're going to talk about the worst case scenario and what we can do collectively to make sure that the worst case scenario doesn't happen. But we can't put our heads in the sand. We can't pretend that the worst case scenario isn't going to happen. So today, we're going to address the worst case scenario, and then collectively, there are 89 of us and growing. We're going to try and come up with some solutions. We're going to do a tarot card blitzes. I think I'm just going to check my schedules to see how long I can be with you folks because I have patience, a lot of patience today. As you can see, I'm in the office. So yeah, I can be with everybody for about an hour, if that works out for you. Welcome, everybody. And we're just going to do as many blitzes as we can. But as is my way, I want to give gratitude and shout outs to everybody, starting with Noelle, who is our moderator extraordinaire. I know how hard it is to moderate, particularly when we start to get up to numbers like 600-700 people. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be able to do this channel if it weren't for Noelle, and all the other moderators who give freely of their time so that we can come together as a community and talk about these issues. So gratitude to Noelle, and hello to John. Where am I, John? I'm right here. 11:45 we got started. Tracy, Leah, hello, welcome. Thank you for coming. T-Barb. You got home so that you could hang out with me, T-Barb. And I'm glad you're here. My thoughts, hello, welcome. Julie, you look sad. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Julie Munson, hello. Pierre Walker, hello. Lane, good to see you from Denmark. Traffic was fine today, so I made it ahead of time. Woohoo! Pamela Lassiter. We're going to talk. Tracy, Leah, T-Barb, we've already said hi to. Kathy W., another great moderator. Thank you, Kathy, for giving up your time today to the community. Daniel Raphael, hello. Ronnie, shalom, good to see you. Lene, Catherine Fallen, hello. Carla Phillips, Lori I, Adrian Cox, Monica Jones. Miss Beachboxer. Yes, we like her. Carla Rutherford. Okay, we'll keep saying hi to people. We want to get started just so that I can break for lunch and then I have patients back to back. All right, so we're going to talk today about the worst case scenarios and what happened, historically, how the worst case scenarios happened in the past and what we can do to try and divert the worst case scenario. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the election, and a lot of people feel that Joe Biden is going to be the nominee. It's interesting when I meditate on Joe Biden, who's in his 70s, I think about, this is the worst case scenario, people. This is Whimsy going to a dark bardo, okay? My mind, the darkest place my mind goes to is I think about Nazi Germany. And I think about the fact that the chancellor was very, very old, but he decided to run anyway because he was afraid of Hitler. Everybody remember your history books? So he decides to run. Then they burned the Reichstag, and he made peace with the Nazis, so to speak, to make them happy. So the second in command was Hitler, and then the elderly chancellor died, and that is how Hitler came to power. So the concern that I have, and a lot of people have about Biden's age, is that he wins the nomination, but he cannot physically complete the campaign. which would put the campaign in a situation of chaos. If we have him as the nominee, if it looks like by March, April, June, he's the nominee, and then say August, September, there's a health concern or something like that, that would be theoretically the worst case scenario. We would have to scramble theoretically to try and find somebody else. We wouldn't have a candidate. That is the worst case scenario. We would be back in the same situation the history books tell us we found ourselves in the last time fascism took hold. So that brings us to the question of whether or not, given the worst case scenario, we can get behind Biden. Biden's the great unifying force, but if something should happen to him because of his age, would we still be able to scramble together to create a coalition that could beat Trump? From my perspective, that's the worst case scenario. And so that's something we have to take into consideration when we go to the polls. Are we going to risk voting for Biden and expecting him to be in good health for the next 9 years? So if we can step back without emotion and then just objectively look at who's going to be the candidate that can beat Trump and is going to be the strongest, healthiest, unifying force, that takes us to Buttigieg. And so but the problem with Buttigieg is that you have what's called divide and conquer. And with divide and conquer, the opposition will begin to spread a rumor or try to create some kind of a diversion to get people to not like the second choice. So the second moderate choice, who's young, healthy, strong, popular, even with the Fox community, is Pete Buttigieg. So there's a real possibility that Pete Buttigieg's campaign has been infiltrated by Republicans trying to get Democrats to be divided and conquered and to dislike Buttigieg. So this is how it works. And this is how traditionally hegemony works, is that you take the majority and you get them to attack one another, whether it's the Kozu and the Zulu in South Africa, or what happened in Palestine during the British occupation. You get the locals to hate each other so much that they start praying for the military to come in and control everybody. We're talking about the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario is we nominate Biden. Biden gets ill. Biden has a health crisis. He can't continue the campaign, or something else happens. We scramble to find a replacement. Trump continues to become powerful, and we have another 4 years of Trump. This is the worst case scenario. So the question becomes, can we as a community risk it by voting for Biden? We have to talk about it. We have to talk about the worst case scenario. And then the second conversation I know this is not, usually I'm light and love, but today I'm not light and love. Only have 39 likes, I'm sorry. But we have to go down, sometimes we have to go down dark roads. And then the worst case scenario is that when we try to find a replacement, we are divided, like they did with Hillary Clinton. And remember, she was supposed to die of Parkinson's. She's dying. I went to med school and I looked at the data and I said, I don't think she's dying. I think she got pneumonia. I had Trump supporters telling me that I was in denial. And, since the election, she's published 3 books. She's working on a 4th. She's not dying. So that kind of divide and conquer, spreading fake rumors, taking someone like Buttigieg, who has definitely some issues to work on, and turning him into like a pariah of the Democratic Party, Those are the things I'm concerned about. The same with, they're doing the same thing with Elizabeth Warren, who, by the way, is not a socialist. She's a progressive, and she believes in green capitalism and in minor taxation for the rich to pay for things. So what it appears to be going on with the GOP is that they're going after the people, the three people that we are most likely to elect. Bernie Sanders also, they've had a whole other group of things they've been doing with Bernie Sanders, but we'll leave that for another day. So that's the worst case scenario that we're going to look at today. The other worst case scenario is that RBG passes away or has to step down because of health. And because Mitch McConnell believes it's all about the courts, it's all about the courts, it's all about the courts. Remember, we've done remote viewings with him. And all he says is it's all about the courts, it's all about the courts. And he's right. He's been putting extremely young conservative people on benches all over the country, on average 10 years younger than the people Obama put in. And they pushed through a third conservative member of the court. So now we've got 3 Trump-appointed conservatives on the court. They've divided and conquered us. And Biden is too sick to continue the campaign. This is the worst possible thing that could happen. Have I lost my audience? Do people need oxygen? And then the fourth thing we're talking about is that Trump is the bright, shiny object. That Trump is the bright, shiny object, and that actually the bigger problem is not Donald Trump, but the people that have propped him up, put him into power, and the billionaires and trillionaires who, so we are focusing on Trump when the truth is that Trump is not the problem. The problem is the machine that put the useful idiot in power in the first place. So we spend all our time and energy trying to get rid of Trump, thinking that the answer to our problems is to get rid of Trump, and not realize that the bigger problem is Mitch McConnell and the billionaires and trillionaires who have stolen our free and fair elections because they've paid for the right to do so on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And if the majority of us are getting our news from Facebook, that's the worst case scenario. So, like I said, we are not helpless. That's right, Roxanne. We are not we are not helpless, but we have to be organized. We have to be organized. We have to talk about the worst case scenario so that as a remote viewer, I'm non-biased. I just go in, I deliver the information, and I leave. As a human being, I'm not in a remote state right now. I'm just talking it with my ego. I'm worried. I'm really worried. So I think that we are 10,000 strong. There's 272 of us here live. We can throw the cards. Like I said, I'll be here for an hour. It's your time, and those are the worst case scenarios. So let's go ahead and start the Blitz. Hopefully everybody knows about the protest that's happening Tuesday. If you'd like to find out where it's happening in your neighborhood, because they're going to be neighborhood protests, so you won't have to schlep all the way out into the middle of nowhere. You can find out through moveon.org. Be sure and publish the protest information on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Tell your friends. If you're in the West Hollywood area, I will be there. It's at 5:30 p.m. Tuesday night, and we're meeting in the West Hollywood Park, which is next to the San Vicente West Hollywood Library. So it'd be great if you could all come say hi if you are in the West Hollywood area, and then maybe we can go have some drinks afterwards and talk. All right. So you live in the middle of nowhere, then what you can do, Deborah, is you can go to If you live in an area of nowhere, you can go to moveon.org, punch in your address, and if there's nothing happening near you, you can say, I will host. And you can go to the main square, the main area there, and organize in that town. So you can lead the protest in your area. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and ask the question, how do we prevent the worst case scenario from happening? I think that let's just do this. I am using inversions today, so it's not going to be all straight up. And let's go ahead and do a prayer. I know it's a drag. People don't want to hear this. I'm going to get a lot of dislikes, but sometimes you got to look at the darkness so that you can figure, forewarned is the good thing, right? Let's do a prayer. I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower us so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves, for the people we love, for the planet, for our families, and for those we have strife with. And let us say amen. All right. What can we do to keep the worst case scenarios from happening? Other than Marching Tuesday. If you can't get out of your house, then send loving energy. Write a letter. All right, the worst case scenario and what we can do about it. That's a good answer I just got. Okay, so the worst case scenario, the first thing that they started to talk about when I went into the remote was about us getting organized, that we have to be organized. And it reminds me of the way that he organized his campaign. No drama, Obama. Remember that? So they're talking a lot about conflict and fighting within the community. 5 of Wands is to exchange ideas, but this is straight up. So we can all be unique snowflakes. We can all be unique snowflakes, but we need to come together and avoid anger, fighting, conflict, because you can see the second card we pulled in our bases is the temper card. Negotiation, when it's straight up inverted, I read as temper, anger. We cannot afford to fight amongst ourselves right now. We have to be the first thing we have to do is all get on the same page about what our values are, and no drama. It's a waste of our energy, and it's not going to help us take the country where the country needs to go right now. 5 of Wands, the exchange of ideas, recognizing that everybody has something to contribute, but that we are all trying to create the same foundation. So the first advice is to relax, calm down, get organized with your local Democratic Party chapters, make phone calls, do whatever you can to be part of the solution. And that we should not waste time screaming and yelling and fighting with one another. We have to, even though we may have differences, we have to look at what our common core values are. The environment, saving the planet, making sure that people can afford to get medical treatments, taking care of the infrastructure, improving education in the country, putting an end to racism, harassment of the LGBTQ community, we're on the same page 99% of the time. Women's rights, right? So the first thing I'm getting is that we have to come together as come together as unique snowflakes, but watch the temper. Be mindful of how different candidates are being infiltrated with divide and conquer mentality, whether it's trying to get us to hate Buttigieg or trying to get us to hate Sanders or trying to get us to hate Klobuchar. Trace where that is coming from. It's like, did everybody see Buttigieg was invited by, I think it was a black church, and they were getting organized, and then a white guy showed up and started screaming that he was racist, and I couldn't help thinking, who paid this guy? Is he a Democrat? Is he a progressive? Or is he a GOP guy who was paid to divide and conquer because we are getting organized? So just to be mindful of that, just to be mindful of that divide and conquer is going to be our worst enemy. Don't go biting after every negative thing we read about a Democratic candidate. Feelings of hopelessness, not being able to get things off the ground, apathy is also our biggest enemy. An inverted Ace of Wands is when people feel so disorganized, they don't know what to do. We're running around in knots, crazy, confused, fighting amongst ourselves, ready to eat our own children. And so consequently, the inverted Ace of Wands comes. We can't get anything off the ground because we're completely gaslit, confused, emotional, hysterical. We're not calm. The Justice comes in. So this again is going back to, I keep thinking about Barack Obama's campaign. No drama, Obama, putting emotionalism aside, figuring out what the worst case scenario is going to be so that we can avoid it. Focusing on justice, or what I like to call justice absolute. What do we need to do to create a peaceful, just society so that is aligned with the ideals of the Constitution, a more perfect union, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? What can we do to come together to strengthen the highest values of the Constitution, the law, the justice? People giving up the fight too soon. An inverted Ace of Wands is to drop it. It's apathy. It's, I don't want to work today. I want to eat chocolate and watch Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. You stand accused. Though the third season is not as good as the first and second. I'm trying to get into it, though. Anyway, apathy, my friends. That is the enemy, our own apathy. Continuing to do our own homework, check your facts, make sure you're not reposting anything that is a bot. Keep your eyes open, keep yourself alert. Debunk things, do your homework and check to see if is it a divide and conquer tactic? Who put up the ad? It goes both ways. I've also seen fake ads go up against Melania Trump, where I fact checked them, and it turned out not to be true. Hostile stuff about her as well. So just really keeping your eyes open, keeping yourself educated, not engaging in emotional fighting, not falling into apathy, keeping yourself focused on seeking justice. Keeping your eye on the ball. The Ace of Swords sits in the third house, which is victory. So begin to see in your mind the victory. Begin to see in your mind the kind of world you want to co-create. So the potential for us as a collective to create a beautiful world is there. It sits in the third house or the heart chakra. A lot of remote viewers and readers, instead of wearing a religious symbol, they'll wear a heart. You'll see almost all of us wearing the heart. It's to keep ourselves focused on the heart, the victory of the heart, the common goal, the common justice, past placement, leaving things that impoverish us, belief systems that drag us down, that lead others to poverty, that keep us from exile, that cause us to be gaslit, confused, disorganized, removed from our own light, so that consequently we become disempowered. In the near future, we have to come out of confusion, inverted moon card. This is something that I've been dealing with a lot as well. How do we de-stress? The problem is, okay, don't tell me about the ending of Miss Maisel, Susan, because I'm not there yet. So the inverted moon card is to have clear thought. One of the ways that I get my mind clear is that I try to chant as much as I can to get my mind clear. I meditate as much as I can to get my mind clear. Inverted moon suggests doing away with confusion. It's also a card that has to do with blood sugar dysregulation, anything that makes you feel spacey, alcohol, marijuana, different ways that people will distress themselves. Oh, I'm getting overly stimulated. I'm an empath. I've got to go do something to get away from all of this. So I'm going to go smoke some marijuana, or I'm going to go drink some alcohol. It's very tempting. This is why a lot of empaths struggle with self-medication, drug and alcohol abuse. But there are other ways we can de-stress that are going to keep our minds clear. First thing in the morning, not watching the news. Give yourself 20 minutes first of nice mantras or spiritual music. Chant, do something to make you feel like you're in control of your own mind. You don't want to engage in escapism, because as soon as you engage in escapism, you're no longer part of the solution. It's gotten to you. The situation has gotten to you and you've checked out. That's the moon card. So how do we find healthy ways to de-stress that don't cost us our own ability to, congratulations, Susan. Good for you. New coping techniques. How do you self-soothe? For me, I go and walk in nature. I feel this way a lot as a remote viewer, like, oh, God. After my divorce, I literally spent 4 years grieving my divorce. So I know, and I just I couldn't handle anything, right? So I get that we can sometimes, particularly those of us that are highly sensitive, we can get a little overwhelmed, but turning it off and giving yourself a break is not the same as sticking your head in the sand, coming out of denial, coming out of the moon. And I can't stress enough that the main investigation was not Donald Trump. This came out during the hearings, that it was the intelligence agencies and dark money. So they were investigating everybody's campaign. They were investigating Hillary Clinton. They were investigating Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, because the campaigns were being infiltrated by foreign influence, by various different foreign governments, not just Russia. So that was the real investigation. So if we lose sight and think that all the energy has to be Trump, we're kind of missing the point. And an inverted moon card coming in is that we first have to get control of our own mind and to get straight. We're all on one page. We don't want to oppress anybody. We want to save the planet. We have to not get bogged down by the fluff. Inverted moon means entering into, and the sun card in the 4th house would suggest we're coming into a state of clarity, out of a state of confusion, walking away from a situation that kept us in exile, and walking away from confusion as the sun moves in. Sitting in a position of power, actually, because the Ace of Swords is there. Justice ye shall pursue. Crosses us. Apathy is our greatest enemy. Refusing an offer. 4 of Cups is where we are at in relationship to The other is not giving up a fight. A 5 of swords inverted would indicate a fight that the other has not relinquished. So this looks to me like a stalemate. The hope and the fear. It's all about power here and who has the power, the magician. And then the final outcome, an inverted 7 of wands. So that would indicate that there's an opportunity for us. This is what Scaramucci talks about, to give an off-ramp for people that voted for Trump. To not just be in the 7 of wands mode where we're fighting Trump supporters or people that voted for. This is not going to get us where we need to go. We have to be able to be humble enough to start to reach out to people who made a mistake and voted for this individual. 7 of wands inverted suggest that we're opening up the playing field to a broader coalition. And it goes back to the base 5 of wands, which is a broad coalition. We're going to have a broad coalition. We can't win without a broad coalition. And that means having to reach out to people that we may not normally agree with about certain things. It reminds me of the remote viewing when people had asked if I could go in and just look at things from the perspective of, we did Lincoln, we did Abraham Lincoln, and we did Roosevelt. And when we went into the energy of Lincoln, it was this real concern that we were headed towards a civil war if we couldn't stop this rigorous, where everybody was rigorously holding on to their side. The fact that there's an inverted 7 of wands means we have to take our defenses down a little bit and begin to consider the possibility that the other person may have made a mistake, but still be open to communication with the other side. Let's look at a clarification and then we'll go into more specific questions for people. Here's the Constitution. So, has everybody read and studied the Constitution? It looks like we all collectively have some homework to do, which is that encouraging everybody in the country to begin to look at our common ethos. The 7th house is the Hierophant, which we read as the Constitution when we read for the nation. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What is around us, it's over. We could, as long as we stay true to the Constitution, keep our brains clear, open ourselves up to talking to people who may have voted for the other side, be open and compassionate and listen, we could move towards creating a foundation, an organization. We have to avoid drama. This is going to come up a lot. The hope and the fear, vindictiveness, and also suppression of information. The final outcome for the nation, 4 of swords, to be as samadhi, thinking before action, slow and steady wins the race, going inward. 4 of swords is an inward, becoming clear with one's self. That's how I would interpret 4 of swords. So those are some of the pitfalls and some suggestion from Spirit about how we can avoid the worst case scenario. No drama, create an open dialogue with people that voted for Trump in the past, begin visualizing the type of nation we want to become, avoid being seduced into dividing and conquering, stay connected, have everybody focused on the same ideal, which is the Constitution, and begin visualizing the type of nation that we are collectively trying to create and the type of world we are trying to create. That's how we get past the worst case scenario. All right, so now I'm going to open it up to individual blitzes. We've got 30 minutes here to do blitzes. First come, first serve. Leonard Cohen, I don't know. He's He was pretty amazing. He was also Buddhist. I read that really great article. Somebody had interviewed Leonard Cohen, and he said he couldn't even get the interview out because Leonard Cohen kept feeding him. He went to interview Leonard Cohen, and Leonard Cohen said, "Are you hungry?" And went and made him a bagel, and "You want some tea?" So sounds like he was a really cool guy. All right. Did we have a question about Mitch McConnell? I'm going to go ahead and open it up first to the moderators. They get first picks if they have a question they need us to go into. I know somebody had asked me to look at Mitch McConnell. I don't know if we looked at Mitch McConnell last time. Whimsy, why was Washington, D.C. so weird yesterday? Please read on it. I don't know how Washington, D.C. was weird. I don't really understand the question. I'd need to have it be a little bit, who is the woman that will bring Trump down? That wasn't my prediction. That was someone else who said that there would be a woman that would bring. So thank you, Astrid. You've had 20 babies today. And thank you to the person before that. Let me know your name. I wanted to give a shout out. Someone else had donated to the trees. Yeah, so just let me know. Catherine Brush had 40 tree babies. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let me just, Noel wants me to look at the DC energy. It was strange. I don't really know how it was strange. What's going on? What's the mood in DC right now? Just energy? Okay. No. What's the energy in DC right now? It's interesting. I'm picking up more Britain than DC right now. Base of the matter, 4 of Wands, springtime. It's also an April card. Remember I said that there was going to be delays? But you also have an Empress card moving in, which is inability to get anything going theoretically. It's also a card of fertility. If it's inverted, it can mean that the budget, there's a problem with the budget. It could also mean that the market takes a tumble. It has to do with being barren. So whatever is propping up the economy, we could see another dip in the spring. It's interesting that it feels when you go into this energy as if the things that are going on right now are artificial. Like they're creating an artificially stable economy, and that they will not be able to maintain this much longer, that they're doing certain things to create the economy we're currently in right now. It's almost as if they're afraid to tell the American people that something is coming in or pushing through, which has to do with barrenness, poverty. It could also be poor crops. Opening up to exchange of ideas. This could be people with opposing views, again, coming and talking. Straight up, it's to defend one's territory or land. Inverted, it could be opening up dialogue between people that may be in conflict. What crosses it? I feel like there's stagnation here. I'm concerned about the market. There's money missing. It's going to come out that there's more money missing. This is insane. It's like open theft. It's like there's no rules anymore. There's no rules anymore, and nothing's being done. Coming out of confusion, loss of money, the Dreamer's card, the Queen of Cups in the third house. There's more investigations about missing money. This came up before. It hasn't even made its way into being public yet. The time, this is the military time, the protest time, the marching time. More people are leaving Congress. We're going to be seeing more people leaving Congress. Hopes and fears. The Page of Swords comes in, and an offer. It's a very scary energy because it feels like there are a lot of people in charge that are openly engaging in illegal activities. It's very brazen now. It feels very, very brazen. The Star is the final outcome. If I were to say that the energy was weird in DC, it's because of a feeling of just shock that it's almost like people, it's like, it almost looks like the LA riots when you go into this energy. Like people are just openly walking into the stores and walking off with stuff. And the shock and horror of the Democrats as literally they're taking the desk away, like, and nobody seems to care. It's a kind of feeling of, what are you going to do about it? It's becoming very, very brazen. Whimsy, I felt that is why I asked you to check on Washington, D.C. Oh, because you were feeling the same thing? But it goes back to how we're going to save ourselves, which is that we have to get very clear. Get your brain clear. We all need to just get our brains clear. As tempting as it is to escape, we have to collectively come together and say enough is enough and not get bogged down by drama, not get bogged down by divide and conquer, not get bogged down by gaslighting. We all have to be on the same page. The fact that the Star comes in, the fact that hundreds of thousands of people are going to be part of the demonstration on Tuesday. 21 trillion already reported missing. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but he's also lost parts of Texas because people are complaining that they're losing their land to the wall. We just have to be organized, focused, and not fall away into the crazy. My wig is burnt and old and ugly. This is not a wig, my love. This is my beautiful. And you see this new hair coming in right here? This beautiful. It's because I don't use hair dye. But I think you're going to have to go bye-bye Basic Productions because I think the moderators are going to ban you. But this is a classic. I'm kind of glad Basic Productions showed up because this is the seething hatred of woman power that we see in the opposition. They really hate women. And it's just kind of sad to be such a pathetic person. All right. Burnt and ugly. I love my gray. All right. Your gray hair is beautiful. Thank you, Larry girl. I like it very much. That's one of those angry men, probably with a micro penis, who can't get a girl to save his. So he's mad at the world because he could never get a woman like me, never get a woman like the beautiful ladies here on this channel. And so they try to abuse us and attack us because they're just some poor old fat guy sitting in. Not that being overweight is bad necessarily, but somebody not taking care of themselves. He has 21 subscribers and no content. Oh, he's a troll. For the free speech, I personally saw threats of nuclear war if Hillary Clinton was elected coming from Russia. Well, that would bankrupt them as a country. I don't know about that. I didn't see that for Hillary Clinton being elected. What I saw if Hillary Clinton got elected was that she was going to have a lot of face-offs with Mitch McConnell, and that Mitch McConnell, for all intents and purposes, it's his Senate, and he wants the courts, and it's all about the courts, and he's willing to do anything in order to yeah. It would have been a stalemate in some respects, which would be better than where we're at right now. All right, so we've still got time, so let's do another throw. People had asked me if I could look, yesterday somebody had asked if I could throw on Mitch McConnell. I think Mitch McConnell's in trouble, so let's go ahead and do Mitch McConnell. Yes, unhappy men that women want nothing to do with. Why would any woman want a man like that? I mean, that's the problem. Why would anybody want you? Become a nice person. Start respecting women and you might get lucky. Okay. Mitch McConnell. Who's that comedian? She said, you can always tell because the bigger their mouth, the smaller their penis. I'm being naughty. All right, Mitch McConnell. My apologies. I'm exercising my free speech. You do have the right to free speech. You do. But that doesn't mean there won't be consequences. All right, Mitch McConnell, partnership. That's been very advantageous for him. He's got a nice magician card there. From where he sits, if you put yourself in his position, he's done very well for himself. This partnership with Trump is working great for him because he was able to do precisely. Now, he's an example of somebody who doesn't get he doesn't get confused. He knows precisely what he wants, and he's going to get it. It's all about the courts. He doesn't care about the fluff, the crazy, the gaslighting, the infighting. None of that matters to Mitch McConnell. What matters to Mitch McConnell is he's in a position of power and the partnership is working great for him. Defending his territory. Something keeps talking about April or spring. Something's going to happen. This came up in the last throw. Something about making a foolish mistake regarding a partnership. See, the partnership was working with him, but then we see some sacred contract and a fool card and a defending his territory. And look, the lover card is over. I think we could be seeing a falling out between Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. He got what he wanted, but once he gets what he wants, which is to fill the courts, he could throw this guy to the wolves. Yeah, the truth is coming out. It feels to me when you go into Mitch McConnell's energy like he's working as quickly as he can before some information comes out. So he's just shoving people into the courts as fast as he can. But this relationship, this partnership that has been so advantageous for him, could possibly be coming to an end. Something that is going to happen in the spring. This is also a spring card. The Page of Wands inverted. There's Trump. Trump orders him around like a dog. I always see that. Hopes and fears, the foundation, and the final outcome. A new man comes in who's a water sign. Coming out of confusion. The only reason he protected Trump was because of the power he got from the union, but it's coming to an end. I think this is going to fall apart by spring of 2020, probably before. Hopes and fears, and then the final outcome. It's so weird. It's like another guy comes in that could even be a Democrat. This could be Buttigieg. It could be Biden. And all of a sudden, McConnell's okay with it. Isn't that weird? It's like, okay, I stuffed all the candy. I got all the candy I could get. Okay, we're done with you. Bye. Okay, you can come back, Biden. We all like you in the Senate. We had a 20-year relationship. You can come back, or 30-year, or however long it was. So Buttigieg is not a water sign. Well, the King of Cups is the peacemaker. It's the King of Hearts. It's a gentle energy. It's somebody who comes in and brings peace. So it looks to me, just because the cards were all about a breakup, and the fact that the 8th house was Donald Trump's card, leads me to suspect that if we can really, if the nation can come together and protest and call for impeachment, Mitch McConnell could theoretically throw this man to the wolves, because he's already served his function. That to be honest with you, that's what it looks like. Will he be reelected? I think people. Oh, Adam Schiff is a Cancer. Very nice. Betsy DeVos. Yeah, I was going to look at Betsy DeVos. I didn't get a chance to. Does anybody also want me to look at anything in Europe? I know we have a lot of Europeans and Australians who watch the channel. I can do that for people if they like. What's going on with Betsy DeVos? Sorry that I used foul language with that person that came on here. The truth of the matter is, I like everybody, even trolls. I feel, as an empath, when somebody talks to me like that, I just get sad. I just want to. You want a hug? Why are you so angry at women? Did your mother not breastfeed you? I mean, I do. I feel bad for them. My poor baby, my baby. I'm a professional empath. The truth of the matter is, if that guy was angry and came to my house, I would probably make him soup. I would, Don't why are you so mad at women? Why are you so mad at the world? Come on now. We're all brothers and sisters. Have some soup. Vegetarian. It's very tasty. Michael makes the best soup. When I was in Australia, I didn't have to lift a finger. He's an amazing cook. All right. I don't see her continuing on. You have a Chariot card there as her base, and an inverted Knight of Cups. That's the Holy Grail. It could also be abandoning the mission. That's kind of how I would see it. I think she might move on. Justice coming. You know what? Something's going to happen that I think this is going to end for her. Look at this. She's got a Justice card in her first house, and then what's crossing her is inverted Sun card. Some legal issue or something happens that puts a stop to. Oh, she's also having some health challenges, stress and health challenges, possibly. She could be, there's this pressure to bypass existing laws. You can see an inverted Hierophant with the Fool card. Health is an issue. Depression is an issue. She's entangled in some kind of a legal issue. Something about juggling money, or something happened. God, something's happening in April. They're going to be taking up the case, right? I don't know when they're taking up the case in the Supreme Court, but yeah, she has an inverted Ace of Swords. This is loss, failure. Her leaving, she could be out as early as April, because you can see over the April card an Ace of Swords. If you're going to tentatively read, because I read Wands as month cards. Yeah, when I go into her energy, I feel bad, and I'm worried about my health. So I think it's very possible that Devas's brother is in trouble, because the hope and the fear was the King of Pentacles, which was a businessman that's associated with her. Amy McGrath. Yeah, let's take a look. How are we doing on time? Oh, we've got time. Is Amy McGrath going to win? Is in Kentucky, right? Amy McGrath, Senate seat in Kentucky. Oh, I'm seeing some really nice energy in the Christian community. There's a lot of angry Christians in the South right now that do not appreciate some nice energy. Basically, what's starting to happen is that there are a lot of Christians in the South that are extremely angry about what they are seeing representing their faith. And it's causing them to go to the polls, and it's causing the southern states to go blue, because it's particularly amongst the female Christian community that this does not this is not their faith. This is something else. The Queen of Cups is moving in, which is a feminine energy. It's the heart healer. It's the feeling that all the women have been praying, and then you bundle up your babies and you go to the voting booth. This is not my faith. Like, it's a feeling like that a lot of people are doing a lot of praying, and they're coming to a very different conclusion than this administration. And that renaissance within the Southern Christian community, that new spirituality is starting to emerge, and it's as if they want to make a statement. So it's very possible that she could win. There's an inverted Empress, though, coming in as well. The King of Cups. This is somebody who doesn't want violence also. You get the impression that Amy McGrath wants a very gentle, if it is going to transition, she doesn't want fighting. She doesn't want, this is definitely a gentle, peaceful energy coming in. Contract over with King of Swords. So there's also a feeling in Kentucky where we could see people ending. This is being done in a way that's very true to the culture of Kentucky. This is not the culture of San Francisco or Portland, Oregon. This is the culture of Kentucky. So it's almost like the values of the state are not reflected in what they're seeing from this administration. You can see coming in an ending of a contract with the King of Swords, anger, prayers, heartbreak from the other, hopes and fears, the death, and then the final outcome, Two of Swords, the hardening of the heart. she could win, but it's a very painful process for Kentucky. It just feels very, very painful, and a lot of people are having to do some really, you know, she feels like an energy where she doesn't want violent protest. She doesn't want this to. She's really trying to calm the energy, but it's almost like it reminds me of what I'm seeing also in the Muslim community, where you have the Sufis and this beautiful, positive healing energy coming from within the Muslim community. And then you had the extremist, and there was this movement that happened within the Muslim community to educate people about Islam as an intellectual and peaceful spiritual path. So we're going to be seeing more of that in the South as well. People don't appreciate others speaking for them about their faith and emphasizing values that they don't share. That's basically what it looks like. All right, so we have time for one more quick question, and then we're going to close up. Read about the Civil War, please. California is a target, I hear. Ooh, I hope not. Well, I won't be in California. I'm moving probably in March. Whimsy, check out the Freedom Caucus. I'm a blue girl in the South. You know where I love? I did go to the South. I went on vacation to Savannah, Georgia. I really liked the South, and yeah, they had the Art Institute there, and people were doing drum circles and wearing tie-dye T-shirts, and I thought, this is the South. So it kind of was an education for me as a Northerner that we shouldn't paint everyone with a broad. We shouldn't be bigots ourselves. We should be judging everybody, on their own merit. South Carolina, yes. Savannah, I want to go to Charlottesville. Is that Charlotte? Okay. Anyway, I want to see more of the South. I really liked it. Okay, so we have a question about the royal family. Oh, can we get a moderator to tell us what we should throw on before we close out today? This was fun, wasn't it? I was like lonely. I was missing you guys. I was sitting in my office. I had a break for lunch and then a new patient coming in. And I thought, oh, what the heck? I'll go live. Okay, the royal family. Charleston, North Carolina. I hear it's beautiful. And they have a very old Jewish community there. One of the oldest Torah scrolls in America is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, Linda G posted. I know she posted yesterday. I saw the one she posted yesterday, which was really good. Charlotte is awesome. That's what I hear. I hear it's even better than Savannah. Okay. I'm just going to check Britain as a whole. How is Britain doing? Anything about the royal family? Sure, but let's just check on the energy over Britain. And Brexit. One more time. Let's just see. I never get good feeling about Brexit. Thank you, Jay. Even if we did have to omit that comment. And I'll see if I get anything on the Queen. Or no, what did Linda G say? She said that she reminded us that Princess Diana called her a Rottweiler, so she can be tough, right? Celebrations about a judgment coming in. There's going to be celebrations in Britain. People are not on the same page. Oh, there's the Queen. The Queen could come in and do something about this situation. She could come in and let her presence be known a little bit. They're very concerned about the fact that their funds have not, that financially things have not been handled well. You can see here in the card chart that there's a Four of Pentacles, which is a examining the coin, holding the coin, and frugality. Also, Seven of Cups. There's a feeling of waste here. When you go into this energy, British Parliament, the British political situation, there's anger about waste. And then some queen comes in, the Queen of Swords, an elderly queen comes in to deal with a situation that has left them confused regarding money, not on the same page. She has to come in and save face because they're having some problem following through on this. There's an inverted devil card there. Britain's going to work it out. I don't get a horrible ending for Britain and Brexit. Instead, it's like there's a way out of this. I think the Queen is going to be assisting in somehow making, they're not going to get to Brexit. It still doesn't come out that it's going to be a hard Brexit. Instead, it's more like somebody's going to throw them a bone and help them get out of this situation or change things in such a way. See, because breaking with the devil and failure over the devil, the eyes are opened. And then the Ten of Pentacles, something about the inheritance, the Lover's card, a sacred contract. Something's going to happen in Britain that is going to resolve this conflict in a way where they're going to work this out. They're going to work this out. It's not something that is going to have. It's not a violent ending. It's not like a tower. It's Ten of Pentacles, which is one's inheritance, and the Lover's card, which is sacred contract. How we look towards God or spirit. It's people will come together, and it feels almost like in a natural way, people will work these issues out. It keeps talking about a soft Brexit or a creative way to resolve. They may be able to resolve some of the concerns they have without a hard Brexit. All right, thanks, Harmony. Thank you, everybody. This was kind of an unusual get together. The worst case scenario. We got to look at the worst case scenario. That's why I'm not voting for Biden. Even though I think he's a nice guy, I think it's time to get somebody young in there. I'm not going to vote for him. All right, thanks, everybody. If you're still trying to get in for readings, I see patients Tuesday through Saturday. Either here at my offices as a naturopathic doctor, or if you want to, thank you, Hominy, you had 40 babies, Mazel tov. Or if you're trying to get a tarot reading by phone, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. I really want to thank, again, all the moderators, Ona, Noel, Kathy. I just really appreciate the help because I know it's a lot of work. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. 419 strong today. And I love getting emails from everybody. Whimsy Anderson at gmail.com if you have any suggestions for the channel. So peace, be well. And I'll see you all at the March, Tuesday, 5:30. Impeachment party.